Hello guys, welcome to Yakety Mac. Here shortly I'm going to remove this tarp and reveal my new 2025 fishing kayak. If it ends up being a boat you'd like to learn more about, then go ahead and subscribe so you can catch the upcoming review series I'm about to do. For those of you who are already subscribers, let me apologize in advance for the amount of notifications you're going to be getting here in the very near future. So guys, I'd like to talk about the process I went through in selecting this kayak prior to the unveil. And the reason I want to do that is to help folks who may be going through a process of their own or are thinking about going through this process. I want to share some thoughts with you. I promise to keep it brief-ish. So let's head inside the bar and have a quick conversation, y'all. So I am in no way, shape, or form an expert on kayaks. I don't pretend to be. But for those of you who find yourself looking or potentially looking, I do have a bit of advice that I think could prove beneficial. At least it did for me. And that is find a way to drown out all of the Johnny-come-lately noise. There's not that much going on, guys. There's not that much exciting things happening. Most of it is hype for the sake of making content. Okay, this just is what it is. This year's belle of the ball is next year's Old Maid. We've seen it happen time and time again. And so how I was able to filter out that noise was I came up with a list of criteria. And my criteria, 4 criteria. And I would not consider a boat that did not meet all 4 of those criteria. I wouldn't give it 1 second, no matter what shiny thing it might have had over here. If it didn't check those 4 boxes, it got no consideration from me. So based upon that criteria, I found 5 boats that were potential suitors. Let's count them down now. All right, pardon the note cards, guys, but I'm trying my best to stay on track and to stay brief. So that's hard for me. All right, coming in at number 5, guys, is the new Canoe Unlimited. At $1,900, it is the least expensive kayak on my list, at least from an entry standpoint. It's got a great hull, a great seat. You can really adjust it in a variety of positions, forward and backward. It's got a lot of gear track all throughout the kayak. It is easy to motorize, both the front and the back. And those who really like its open platform refer to it as a blank canvas. And so that can be a pro or a con depending on your personal preferences. On the pro side of it is that it is kind of wide open for you to arrange and do with whatever you want to do. And a lot of guys really like that. On the con side of it, there's hardly anything baked into this cake. For $1,900, you're literally just getting a hull and a seat. Now, there are a couple of built-in rod holders, flush mounts, and there are a couple little slots where you can stick some tackle box if you want to, like some 3600s, and a couple of cup holders, maybe 1 or 2, I don't remember. But outside of that, dry storage is not going to be a thing. Really, tackle storage is not going to be a thing. You're going to have to customize all that. And that $1,900 price tag can really start to grow. Another con for the U12 is the pedal drive system, the pivot pedal drive. I have had the opportunity to see this in person, up close, and I do not like it. And apparently I am not alone in that thinking, because New Canoe has announced that they have ceased production of the pivot drive for the remainder of 2025, and they cite increased cost and decreased demand. And then the wording on their website would lead you to believe that they are reconsidering even staying in the pedal drive game, which is probably smart on their end, because it is not an area in which they excel. They excel in a lot of areas. The pedal drive is not one of them. And so for those reasons, guys, the new Canoe Unlimited is not the kayak underneath that tarp. Who is it that used to throw their cards? Late night host? Was it Letterman? I don't know. Anyway, there's my take at it. All right. Number 4, guys, is the new PDL120 Pro from Old Town. Let's talk about the pros. So up front, you've got the 4-hole pattern where you could put a mount for a front mount trolling motor. It's got a new, larger, improved front hatch. They've definitely upped their gear track game. They've got horizontal rod storage included now. You could store 4 rods horizontally. And then of course the star of the show is that PDL drive. In my opinion, as of right now, the PDL is the gold standard of pedal drive units. And having used one now for 3 years, I can tell you it has spoiled me. And that's going to come into play when we talk about the next kayak on the list. Anyway, let's go over the cons, because there are several with this kayak. Number one, while it's got an improved front hatch, it still lags behind several others in its class. The rear motor, if you want to do a stern mount motor, you still have those two offset. It's got two now instead of one, but they're both offset, and you're going to have to get a bracket to account for that, because it's going to be sitting off to one side or another. The horizontal rod storage, I appreciate the effort, but they're not going to be real practical. They definitely encroach quite a bit into the cockpit area, and you are going to find yourself hitting them with your feet and your legs. You just are. It's going to happen. In fact, if you watch some videos out there of guys doing the initial reviews on these, part of the hype, you'll notice, watch when they're pedaling, especially the guys wearing the chest cam. Your feet are going to be hitting those rods quite a bit. And if you've got anything on your gear track like leashes or tethers or anything of that sort, they're going to get entwined with the rods as well. So while I appreciate the effort, they're just not all that practical. And then this is going to seem like a small thing, but it's not. Look at this deck padding. I mean, are you kidding me? It's like this big. There's hardly anything there. It's definitely not going to keep you from slipping, getting in and out of the boat. And it is definitely not going to be under your feet if you try to stand in this thing. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating, guys. I have seen lifetime kayaks with better deck padding than what you see right here. And then we'll talk about its price point, guys. At $3,500, I think it's rather ambitious. I really do. And look, right now, I know this kayak is going through its honeymoon phase. The Old Town name and reputation has certainly got a lot of weight behind it. But I truly believe that history is going to prove out that this kayak at this price point is a swing and a miss for Old Town. So with that being said, the 120 Pro is not the kayak that's underneath that tarp. All right. Number three, I'm tickled at throwing the cards. Number three, guys, is going to be the most feature-rich kayak on this list by far. And of course, I'm talking about the Native Titan X 12.5. This baby's got everything. Let's just list it. You can motor front and back. It's got a large front hatch, gear track for days all over this thing, multiple electrical access ports, horizontal rod holders, swivel seat, and the Propel pedal drive, which is proven, solid, and reliable, and I don't like it. Remember earlier when I said the PDL will spoil you? It will. The Propel pedal drive system, look, it's rock solid. I'm not taking that away from it. But it is like stepping back 20 years. You've got the little plastic hatch with your bungee that you got to undo and then drop your pedal drive unit down, put your little plastic cover back on and latch it with your bungee. When you're going to raise it up, whether you're coming into shallow water or coming ashore, you got to remove your little plastic tray, index your prop, bring it back up. If you're going to raise it up while you're out doing some fishing, maybe you're in some really grassy area and you're going to paddle for a little bit, you've got this big chunk of metal thing like right there. Again, I guess I know I'm spoiled. I'm not knocking it, but I'm just saying I don't like it. There's another issue as well, and you can find this out there if you want. There is a cradle that's kind of molded into the kayak where the spine of that Propel drive sits. Well, there's a lot of friction going on inside that cradle, and guys are getting some pretty significant wear in there. In fact, I believe it's something that I would suspect Native is going to address going forward. And then the price. This is the most expensive kayak on the list at $3,700. Now, let me say, I believe this kayak is worth every penny of $3,700. Compare this kayak to the Old Town at $35,000, and you can see there's a lot more than $200 worth of difference right there. But I digress. This kayak is worth it, but $3,700 is still $3,700. It's not chump. And it checks every box on my list. It just doesn't check them as well as a couple of others. So with that being said, guys, the Native Titan X is not the kayak that's underneath that tarp. So now we're down to the top two. Now, I'm not suggesting that these are the two best kayaks on the market. I'm just saying that these are the two best kayaks for me on the market. These are the ones that did the best job at checking my 4 criteria. So it comes down to the Jackson Big Rig FD and the Wilderness Systems Recon 120 HD. These names are getting out of control, man. These are the two kayaks that best fit my needs. So let's talk about them real quick. We'll start with the Wilderness. Okay, so up front, you've got a really nice large front hatch and a really nice deep storage bin that goes in there as well. Very thoughtful. Now, it is best optimized with a motor on the stern. However, there are aftermarket brackets that you can put on the front for a bow mount trolling motor if you so desire. It's got a swivel seat, and their horizontal rod storage, guys, is very unique. And the way it's designed is that behind the seat area, the mold of the kayak kind of has these 2 flat lay down areas that's covered in grip padding that you just simply lay your rods down in, or your reels, and then the rest of your rod comes up just at the top on the inside of the gunnels, so they're protected, but they're not down in the cockpit area like what's on the Native or the Old Town. So it's a very thoughtful design there. And then there is the Helix drive. That's their pedal drive system, which is very intriguing. From an operational standpoint, it's fantastically efficient. You can just simply push it down and it locks into place in the water, and it's got a large button on the front down at the bottom, we call it a kick button, if you will, that you can hit with your hand or your feet. That when you're ready to raise it up, let's say you're going into some sketchy water or you're coming ashore, you just simply kick it and that shoots up into the hull and protects your prop and all that kind of stuff, which is a really kind of thoughtful design. And then if you're going to be out fishing, maybe you're in some grassy area and you've got it up and you don't want this pole sticking in front of you, there's just a couple of latches on the side, and you unlatch those and push it towards the front, so it's not in your face as much as the Propel or even the PDL to some degree as well. And so that's some very nice features with this drive. But this drive can also be a con. And one of the cons about it is that there's not a lot of durability data out there. There's some forums and stuff where people, you've heard, I've seen guys that's like, I've had it 3 years and never had a problem. Other guys that's like, I had a pedal fall off after 6 months. So there's just not enough consistent, reliable data on its durability. So I looked one up online, and it's running for a little over $1,000, which is pretty common for pedal drive units. And I looked at the specifications in the warranty, and it's got a 1-year warranty. Well, that doesn't instill a lot of confidence, not when you've got the PDL and the Propel at 5-year warranties. 1 year is kind of like, ugh, you know, man, I sure wouldn't want to, after 1.5 years, have to shell out over $1,000 for a drive. Not that you will, who knows, right? That's kind of the con is that variable of the unknown. Anyway, so that's the Recon. Let's move on to the Big Rig. All right, up front, you've got a nice front hatch that also has a storage bin, not nearly as robust as what is on the Recon. It's got ample gear track, aluminum, all throughout the boat. It's got really nice deck padding, not just where you would stand, but all the way to the front of the cockpit area. Very nice padding system on there. It's got ambidextrous steering. So the way they use the fiberglass rods is that there are steering handles on both sides, so you can steer left or right, whatever your preference might be. It's got a very easily adjustable high-low seating system in it. And then it's got, the Big Rig is known for the rod troughs. This is the horizontal storage that's built into the gunnel system, and that you can put your rods in. It's got it's got 4 total, 2 on each side rod tubes that the tips of your rods will go into to keep them protected. It's nice and wide. And now let's talk about their pedal drive system a little bit, the FD, the Flex Drive. Concept-wise, if it is as durable as the PDL or the Propel, then I believe it could be the gold standard of all pedal drive units. You want to talk about ease of operation, you've simply got a lever up and down. That's it. It deploys, retracts up within the hull. There's a hatch that you can open up, clean out the prop if you need to. But that's the question, right? Because while the new flex drive, the Mark IV, is a redesigned version, been out now for a couple of years, there were some quality issues with the first generation of the flex drive. And so you wonder, okay, I know they've done a redesign. Did they fix everything? Another potential con for the big rig is the lack of a swivel seat. I'm not exactly sure why they haven't incorporated a swivel seat on a boat that wide and that big. You would think it would be an easy thing for Jackson to do. And so these two boats, they're like $70, $80 price difference between them. So that's not a differentiating factor there. It's like right around $2,700, which I think for both of these boats is a great value. So which one is under that tarp? Let's go find out, guys. All right, you guys, so for the big reveal, I had to bring in some firepower. It is the return of the tribal chief. He is going to help us with the reveal. Are you ready to do this, buddy?
Yep,
okay,
ready.
He's ready. All right, on the count of 3, I want you to pull back this tarp and show him my new fishing kayak, okay? 1, 2, 3, let it go. All right, nice job, buddy. Nice job. All right, so there it is, y'all. It is the new 2025 Big Rig FD. She's a beauty for sure. It just delivered last night at like 6:30. I've had zero time to even start to put it together or play with it. I wanted to do this video and get it out there. Now I'm gonna spend the rest of the day getting to know this kayak here. Do me a favor if you would, like, comment, subscribe, share, especially if you wanna know more about this boat. And then no matter what you've got going on in your life, I hope you'll always take some time to get outside and play. I'm about to.